Hey guys, check it out. You're watching Jonathan Clarke on YouTube. Oh no! I really do believe that Descendants will go down in history for being one of the most revered Disney franchises of all time for its message of acceptance and how one can be struggling with almost anything in their everyday life, but also go on to find acceptance and perseverance in a world that sometimes can be very difficult and sometimes very challenging. Hello once again, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Jonathan Clarke, and I think we all remember a Disney princess story of Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, The Little Mermaid, for how powerful those stories were and go on for many, many years to be represented by your favorite Descendants characters like Evie, Nell, Red, Chloe Charming. It's really amazing how these stories have really evolved and always found a way of touching our hearts in so many emphatic ways, because every single person has a reason for becoming a fan of Descendants. Perhaps it was because of the music. Perhaps you fell in love with the script, or just having a favorite character like Red, Nell, Evie, Carlos. I think everybody has a favorite character that reminds them of themselves and their situations, reminding you of a situation that you may have been caught up within some kind of debacle. But I think that Descendants has resonated with so many wonderful people, and it's not just targeting one specific age demographic. I think it touches the hearts of everybody for so many emphatic reasons that if I were to get into on this show, we would be here for a very long time. But one of my favorite Disney princess tales of all time came in the form of Sleeping Beauty on January 29th, 1959, when she pricked her finger on the spindle of a spinning wheel before falling into a deep sleep, having it broken by true love's kiss, of course, Prince Philip coming to her rescue and becoming one of the most revered Disney princess classics of all time. But it was criticized, too. It was criticized for its characters, its plot, its sense of direction. It was praised because of its music and its art direction, but when it came to its characters and its plot, nobody could really make sense of Sleeping Beauty. But it was a beautiful production, I thought. I have the special anniversary DVD, and I watch it from time to time. And you kind of really don't take into consideration just how revered these classics became. So seeing all these girls portraying the daughters and the sons of all these Disney villains in a franchise such as Descendants achieved so much severity because of that, and how nostalgic these characters were in the classics. So I think Descendants has definitely paid dividends, and I think everybody has drawn inspiration from a Disney franchise for the first time since at least High School Musical achieved so much severity. And you know, when I really think back on the success of High School Musical, I really don't know how High School Musical achieved so much severity only because of the music High School Musical got over. It certainly wasn't because of the powerful story and how Troy Bolton and Gabriela Montez wanted to spend the rest of their lives together. I think, if anything, the powerful music behind High School Musical's score is what got this one over. It certainly wasn't because of the story. But when you think about Descendants, about 15 and a half years later, Descendants came out of the box with a powerful story, a powerful script in the way of music. It was just a beautiful score altogether, and I think that this story is something that's going to forever and always resonate with us and, you know, make us think back on so many fond memories of being fans of Descendants and Zombies, especially with the profound success the Worlds Collide tour received. I mean, nobody ever thought that characters portrayed by Kylie Cantrell and Malia Baker would achieve so much severity, but they certainly did, because they were trying to find acceptance in a world that didn't really understand them or didn't want to accept them at all. And certainly the Zombies cast struggled with finding acceptance in a world that didn't want to accept them at all. But I think that's why these movies have made us think about ourselves and our own situations we may be dealing with, because we're all under a certain amount of peer pressure, especially with heading back to school this past September. I know you had to be feeling the peer pressure, but I'm sure you're adjusting to it quite well. I know that I went through high school and I had a lot of struggles too, you know, finding my place in the world, trying to find acceptance. And, you know, I didn't really have a whole lot of friends in high school, but I quickly realized that I only needed probably 3 or 4 really good friends to help me make it through. And those 3 or 4 really good friends came to be really all I ever needed in this lifetime, because 3 or 4 really good friends can help you make sense of everything going on in your own lives. You know, we hung out a lot. We played video games together. We had a band together. We didn't make it on the indie scene. We tried to make it on the indie scene, but we didn't get really far with it. But all those Saturday and Sundays we would hang out on the weekends, you know, rehearsing and putting in the practice for it really allowed us to bond. And I think the bond that we saw in franchises like Lemonade Mouth, High School Musical, and eventually Descendants and Zombies are bonds that, you know, make us think about our own lives and what we may have been going through. So I think that being able to relate to a franchise like Descendants and Zombies really helped a lot of people out. And I think that this story is only going to get more beautiful and be far more compelling than ever before, because there's still so much of a story yet to be told in this franchise, and one that I'm really excited about. I know everybody has their favorite moments they always talk about from Descendants, like when the characters were first introduced off the song Rotten to the Core. And I remember the opening melody and the opening dance number and it having so much detail. That was one of the very first videos I threw up on this YouTube channel, reviewing that music video, and I couldn't be more proud to have reviewed it, because it was the first musical that Disney had tried in really years, since High School Musical had gone on to achieve so much rarity because of its music. If anything, it was because of the music. It certainly wasn't because of the story, because I've often found time in criticizing the story more than anything. I think that, if you would have had a powerful story with High School Musical along with the music, it would have made more sense. But I think Descendants definitely needs to be credited instead of being criticized for not only giving us great music, but also a powerful story. So if you want to talk about the music, let's talk about the music. But if you want to talk about a compelling story, Descendants had that, because definitely by Descendants 2, maybe not by Descendants the first one, because the story got much deeper by Descendants 2, and the music, definitely got better, because the music was more compelling, and songs like Chillin' Like a Villain and Ways to Be Wicked and Space Between was a powerful duet that really put forth just how powerful of a friendship Mal and Evie shared and how much they thought of each other. And I think that over the years that Sophia Kirsten and Dove Cameron have commented on Descendants, they always go back to Space Between and performing that duet and how much it really meant to the characters, helping them find their place in the world, but also showing them just how powerful of a friendship they actually had, because they not only had a powerful friendship on the set of Descendants, they too had a powerful friendship off the set of Descendants. And I believe that when you talk about the top 10 friendships in Disney history off Disney Channel movies or Disney Channel TV shows, I think that Dove Cameron and Sophia Carson's friendship made the top 5. But now, in 2025, I think Malia Baker and Kylie Cantrell have done a fabulous job really bringing forth how valuable friendship actually is to a person's life. You don't really take it into consideration until everything just comes full circle, and you realize that probably 3 or 4 good friends are all you really need in this lifetime. I know there are people who feel like they need a lot of friends and they need to surround themselves with a lot of positivity, and I get that. I totally understand that. But as you get older, you'll understand what I'm saying more. It'll make more sense to you, how you only really need 3 or 4 really good friends. And the people who realize that early in life are some of the most successful, because I think that friendships are really gifts, and I think more so than ever before we saw that with Victor and Nova, because of how the sacrifices they made. They really didn't care what their two groups, the Daywalkers and the Vampires, thought of them being together. But I think it's going to present a very interesting storyline by the time Zombies 5 happens and we get to that, because of course the groups are going to have some exceptions to them being together and probably some rules they're going to have to abide by, perhaps some restrictions, but it will cause a lot of conflict and present a very compelling storyline, I believe, for Zombies 5, whatever the title is going to be. I know a lot of people have suggested a title change now that Zed and Addison are no longer the leads moving forward and they're going to be sitting behind the camera. But I think because they're sitting behind the camera, that doesn't mean that we're going to see a title change. If anything, we're going to see more emphasis on the Zombies franchise, because forever and always Zombies has held a special place in the hearts of Zed and Addison, and I think that Mila Manheim and Meg Donnelly, moving forward, are going to want to keep the title intact. I know that if I were the writer and producer of Zombies, even though a title change would probably be suggested to me, I'd probably want to keep the title intact, because I know that Zombies has not only meant so much to the cast, but it's also meant so much to a very strong fan base, stronger than ever given credit for, because I know that, at fan conventions, people were only expecting probably 150 to 200 people show up, and there were thousands of people that would show up at each convention. It was kind of like reminding me of the Power Rangers conventions years ago, when the original Power Rangers cast would make special guest appearances and sign autographs for people. I remember, people thinking there probably would be 300 people at these conventions, and there would be thousands at the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers conventions, and Nintendo conventions are the same thing, because there's always a certain rarity with Super Mario and Zelda characters and Spyro the Dragon and Crash Bandicoot and Final Fantasy. People are diehard about what they believe in, and I think Descendants of Zombies is in that same category, if not a category of its own, for the rarity that it's received, not only because of the nostalgia that was brought back and brought forth by Descendants and represented up by all these Disney princesses and their daughters and their sons being a part of the franchise, Disney heroes and villains kind of clashing in one musical for the first time in forever. Because I really believe that Disney was waiting on a franchise to achieve so much rarity. They were really waiting on something to capitalize on, and they have in terms of revenue and ratings because they've generated a lot of attention. Descendants has unquestionably garnered more attention than any franchise because you think back on a franchise like, oh, I don't know, Hannah Montana or Wizards. I mean, Wizards went on to record over 106 episodes, surpassing the legacy of Hannah Montana, producing more episodes and movies. They had one for Disney Channel, Alex versus Alex in 2013, Wizards Return, and then the Wizards of Waverly Place movie by 2009, which was the second most highest rated movie premiere on Disney Channel with over 11.7 million viewers. Almost 12 million people tuned into High School Musical's 17.6 million viewership in 2007. And of course, the latest episode of Hannah Montana premiered on that same night. And I believe years ago when High School Musical made its premiere, the premiere of Hannah Montana, the pilot episode premiered. I think how they did it was they aired Hannah Montana and then High School Musical. So Hannah Montana came before the High School Musical premiere. And if you talk about a premiere on the night of Descendants' premiere on July 31st, 2015, which was a huge night for Disney, they also had the premiere of Bunked. So Peyton List's career, Cameron Boyce's career, it was a double deuce for Cameron Boyce because he not only had the premiere of Bunked happening that night, which was huge enough in their own right, he also had the premiere of Descendants happening. So he had a Disney Channel original movie he was starring in, also the premiere of Bunked. And Bunked would go on to produce over 7 seasons, one of the most highest rated Disney Channel shows of all time. So it was kind of a killing two birds with one stone, if you would. And I remember seeing this premiere and being so happy about how much success these stars were going to receive. Going into it, I have to be honest with each and every one, I was kind of skeptical. I couldn't really make sense of the characters, but as I got used to the music and the vibe and just knowing Kenny Ortega was a part of it, knowing his history with High School Musical and Hocus Pocus and how much rarity he achieved from that, I knew it was going to be something special. I held on to that belief for each and every one of you. And coming away from Descendants, I remember reading reviews on IMDb.com and RottenTomatoes.com that same night, and how so many people couldn't say enough nice things about it. But also, there was a lot of criticism thrown the way of Descendants, criticizing the music, the plot, the characters, kind of like how Sleeping Beauty received so much criticism over 55 years ago, but it went on to become one of Disney's most revered classics and one of the most celebrated princess tales of all time. Of course, focusing on the story of Aurora being woken from a slumber because of True Love's kiss that would go on to represent so many princess stories over the years, like Snow White and The Little Mermaid. It was incredible what Sleeping Beauty did for the entire Disney franchise because it catapulted them to superstardom. Because Disney was really coming out of a rut in the 1980s. Of course, they were losing out to a movie called, I think it was, they had a movie called Oliver and Company. And it was putting Disney into a rut, and Disney really came out of a rut after they started producing productions like Sleeping Beauty and The Little Mermaid and Aladdin, and they really turned a corner. And I think that years later, seeing these stars performing under the bright lights as, you know, Disney villain kids is certainly something to take into consideration that you can seem to never say enough good things about. I mean, the Halloween costumes are very popular this time of year. Everybody is dressing up as their favorite Descendants character, and that's something I really love about people, is how they can draw inspiration from something like Descendants and forever and always have held a special place in their heart for these characters. They remember these characters from over a decade ago. It's really hard to believe that it's been a decade since Descendants came into our lives and really changed our lives in so many unbelievable ways. I know for sure that no matter where I go, whatever becomes of me, I will never forget the profound impact that Descendants had on my heart, because Descendants really changed my life for the better. It really showed me to be kinder to people. It really allowed me to turn my life around, and I like to believe that because of characters like, I don't know, Ruby Rose Turner, I've become a better person because she showed me just how much profound impact kindness can have on a person's heart. And you really don't know how much of a profound impact kindness can really have on a person's heart until you say hi to them. I spoke on a story about me chasing after the school bus. Every morning I would be a bit late, putting together my assignments and my projects and putting them in do-a-tang folders and throwing my book bag on my back and having to resort to chase after the bus like Spider-Man until some girl who felt really bad for me would tell the bus driver to slow down to the bus so I could get on the bus. And I remember, sitting on the school bus a lot of mornings by myself, and then eventually from out of nowhere some girl would say hi to me, and it would make me feel like I was on cloud nine, to be honest with each and every one of you. So just the simple hello or hi to somebody when you least expect it can really make a person's spirits become lifted and feel better about themselves. So I think that no matter how much kindness we show to somebody, kindness really goes a long way in this world, and it definitely has a profound impact on us. And I think that Ruby Rose Turner's character, Bridget, did a phenomenal job really illustrating that and bring that forth for the Descendants franchise. And this is why Descendants has gone on to achieve so much rarity and so many wonderful reviews. And I'm not talking about the reviews that the critics throw up all the time on their websites, because they can never seem to get enough of criticizing something. They can criticize the color scheme of the character Bridget or the character Red, because Red was red, obviously. Bridget was pink because she's the Queen of Hearts. I think that whatever they could find to criticize, they did. But you guys shut down the critics every single time because of your love and your devotion to the Descendants franchise, outshining any amount of criticism it received. And that's what I love about Disney fans so much. They know who they love and they know what they love. So because you love Descendants, because you can identify with the characters, you see yourself through the eyes of whoever your favorite character is, I support that. And I love that so much about each and every one of you, how supportive you've become of Descendants of Zombies and really shown me incentive to create so many wonderful videos for so many wonderful people. Because to be honest with you guys, I never knew how much of a reach these videos were going to have. It was really a hit or miss for me. I was just uploading videos about Descendants of Zombies at random. And now I'm waking up with over 3,000 subscribers having happened for this YouTube channel and over 75,000 channel views. These numbers, these statistics don't lie, and they never fail to blow my mind every single time. We've got Halloween coming up at the end of the month, and I just saw your favorite Descendant stars of the Rise of Red franchise having so much fun at the 2025 Halloween Fest at Disney World. And I saw Freya Sky dress up as her favorite character, Tinkerbell, and feeling so inspired by this character. And knowing that she can draw inspiration from a character like Tinkerbell with how much rarity that story has received, of course, from Peter Pan. They shot Peter Pan and Wendy here where I live, and seeing that happen for this province was beautiful. And I think that seeing her dress up as her favorite character just shows how passionate she is about everything she's a part of and how appreciative she is of every single moment. Because moments like this only happen once every lifetime. So because moments like this only happen once for every lifetime, I think these are moments that we've really got to seize and we've really got to make the most of. So if we're going to say anything about your favorite Descendant stars and Zombie stars as critics, I think we should say nothing but nice things about them, to offer you encouragement and hope for the foreseeable future, because you had better believe that Descendants 5 and Zombies 5 is going to happen. When, where, and how these stories will become derived and happen, well, that remains to be seen. And that's what's fun about this, is that I don't know what's going to happen next in Descendants and Zombies. And even if I did know, I don't even know if I'd tell you guys, because I don't want to offer any spoilers. The thing is, I just want you guys to be excited for the foreseeable future, and I too want to be excited moving forward, because I would love to be the writer-producer, and I would love to contribute my thoughts and my creative energy to Descendants and Zombies, because I think that sometimes it feels as if there's a lack of creative energy, but that doesn't go without saying the dedication and the perseverance that these stars have seen and exemplified, because in all honesty, they're the reason why Zombies and Descendants has gotten to where it is. You guys, for your undeniable love and support that you've shown these two franchises, have gotten Descendants and Zombies in the position that it's in, and having made this YouTube channel one of the most popular YouTube channels in the entire world. I love talking about Descendants and Zombies. For those of you who are new here and just subscribe to this YouTube channel, many of you who have been subscribed to this YouTube channel for a very long time know how passionate I am about Descendants and Zombies, and thank you guys so much for having been here from the very beginning. I became a fan of Descendants and Zombies for the first time when I was 25 years old, and I haven't shut up or stopped talking about it since, because I think that there can never be enough conversation about Descendants and Zombies in a positive way, because I think that a lot of people have had their hopes and their dreams discouraged for far long enough now because of this criticism that Descendants and Zombies has faced, and I've wanted to do anything but criticize the franchises that you grew up with, because I know what it's like to grow up a fan of a franchise and just to be so excited about the future of a franchise such as Descendants and Zombies, because never enough good reviews can be posted on a site like YouTube about Descendants and Zombies, and unfortunately for you guys, you can't find great reviews about Descendants and Zombies until now, because more people have subscribed to this YouTube channel than ever before, continuing to show their love and support for a franchise such as Descendants, and I couldn't be more honored to have become your voice of Descendants and Zombies, leading you into the foreseeable future, where we're going to discuss all things about Descendants and Zombies in the way that it's forever and always meant to be discussed and be presented. Because I think if you're going to present an argument, there's a nice way to present an argument. If you're going to present a review of Descendants and Zombies, there is a really nice way to present a review of Descendants and Zombies to make people feel encouraged to come back to watch the next video that you throw up in your archives on your YouTube channel. And I could be more honored to be that guy sitting behind this microphone every single time I have the chance to record my thoughts on Descendants and Zombies, as I look forward to doing it in the foreseeable future, because I think that if we're going to say something about Descendants and Zombies, if we can't say anything nice about Descendants and Zombies, then we shouldn't say anything at all. But if we can offer you insight onto the franchise in a nice way, then we should do it that way, because I think that never enough nice things can be said about your favorite stars, your favorite moments that you obviously grew up with, that forever and always hold a special place in your heart. That's become very apparent to me. And I just wanted to show you guys honor and justice, show your favorite stars justification for the foreseeable future, because their stars are never going to fade and shine brighter than ever before. When you talk about the stars of Kylie Cantrell, Freya Sky, these are stars that are never going to go out in the sky in the constellation. And that's what I'm here to ensure, is that the legacies of your favorite stars go down in history for having been some of the greatest of all time. I would just like to take a moment to say thank you guys so much for your never-ending love and support for each and every one of these videos that have been thrown up on my YouTube channel. It is my honor to produce so many wonderful videos for fans of Descendants and Zombies, which I hope you keep coming back because of, and keep hitting that subscribe button, because you're a fan of Descendants and Zombies, just like yours truly, and I couldn't be more honored to be the one in front of this microphone every single day discussing all things Descendants and Zombies related. So if you have not subscribed to this YouTube channel, you're probably going to want to think about doing that, because I have a lot to say where Descendants and Zombies goes. I will be back with a third video at some point this afternoon, which I cordially invite you to join me for, as we discuss all things Descendants and Zombies heading in to summer 2026, which is going to be huge for everybody, with the premiere of Descendants 5 with Wonderland happening, coming off the premiere of Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires this past summer, going to #1 on Disney+. Guys, thank you so much for having made this the most popular Descendants and Zombies YouTube channel in the world. I'm your host of Jonathan Clarke Video Blogs. You have been watching, of course, the latest episode of Jonathan Clarke Video Blogs. Be sure to join me this afternoon and keep watching for the latest video to drop in our archives on this YouTube channel. And don't forget to hit my bell and ring my bell to stay up to date with notifications for everything happening on this YouTube channel, because life is really that much sweeter when all of us are. Thank you guys so very much.